It's a new year, it's a cold month, and it's a hot topic. Just a few of the reasons. We will focus on energy this morning on For the Record. Good morning, I'm Neil Heinen. As you will learn this morning, Focus on Energy is the statewide Wisconsin Utilities Program for energy efficiency and renewable energy. As such, it is in the heart of discussions of state energy policy and at the forefront of efforts on energy efficiency and renewable energy, which put it at the table for certainly one of the most important national and global issues of the coming year. My guests this morning are Bill Haas, Program Director for Focus on Energy, Bill Ebalt, Managing Director for Focus on Energy, Keith Riopel, Senior Policy Director for Clean Wisconsin, and John Hertenbach, Environmental Safety and Energy Manager for Stoughton Trailers. It's a mouthful, John. Welcome, and thank you all for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
You know, Keith, let's start with a little bit of history, since you were there at the beginning. You know, people probably have some vague recollection of this. It's gone through some changes, but take us back to the last century.
Sure.
When this whole thing began.
You bet. So it really started in the mid-1990s when a lot of the larger electric utilities were interested in deregulating their industry, and in many states that industry was deregulated. It wasn't in Wisconsin. But in their interest in doing that, they started to move away from programs like energy efficiency and renewable energy. If you're going to have a competitive industry, it made no sense to ask people to use less of your product. So they started to disinvest in things like efficiency, and then Governor Tommy Thompson's Public Service Commission Chairman Scott Neitzel created a council to look at how to deregulate the industry. And one of the first steps was to look at what to do about the fact that the utilities seem to no longer be interested in energy efficiency and renewable energy. And really that council came up with recommendations for the legislature, and in 2000 the legislature passed Act 9, which created the Focus on Energy program, and then it was overhauled in 2005 under Act 141, and that sort of created the current iteration of the program.
So Bill, we'll do this interchangeably, okay? It's a statutory program funded by the utilities.
Correct.
Right, funded by the utilities, essentially funded by ratepayers. Focus on Energy it's a partnership. It's a partnership between the state and over 100 utilities in the state of Wisconsin. And its aim is real simple. Help businesses and residents in the state reduce their overall energy use and make good energy choices with things like renewable energy. As Keith pointed out, it's one of the oldest and most successful programs in the country. And over the last couple of years, like with a lot of even the most successful programs, it's undergone a pretty significant overhaul. An overhaul designed to make the program easier for people to participate in, again, whether at home or work, give them more opportunities to participate, and increase the cost effectiveness, or essentially the return on investment that people get when they cut their energy use. And I think we can hopefully talk about some of the real exciting benefits that the program has provided to Stoughton and other businesses in the state. So we've substantially modified the program, expanded its offering, added things like reduced cost light bulbs, refrigerator recycling, more programs for businesses to cut their energy use, all with an eye towards giving people a chance to cut their energy consumption and make smart energy choices.
Those are good examples. I mean, I was really wanting to give people, you know, if they're asking themselves, all right, how does Focus on Energy affect me? They buy energy efficient light bulbs. That has a Focus on Energy component to it.
Focus on Energy has a series or portfolio of programs that are targeted at various sectors, various types of improvements within your home, within your business, with the idea being that the program is now expanded. There's more opportunities for more customers in the state of Wisconsin to participate. So whether it's buying less costly, energy efficient light bulbs at the local hardware store, or, as Bill mentioned, recycling your refrigerator or freezer, to doing a whole home energy audit and then upgrades including HVAC units and weatherization on that home. So many different opportunities for residential customers to participate in the program. And the same on the business side, whether it's replacing out equipment, if it's a chiller or a boiler, replacing out lighting, Or if it's retro commissioning, retuning up that building to commission it at the level that it should be at. All those different types of things and those activities, if they produce cost-effective energy savings, are incented through Focus on Energy.
And whether you're living in, whether you're living in a single-family home or an apartment building, whether you're a renter or an owner, small business, medium-sized business, big business, there's a program out there that will make some sense for you.
John, just from a commercial perspective, I mean, this sounds great, but it isn't, I mean, sounding great isn't always great for business. Your presence here would suggest to me that this does work for Stoughton Trailer, and I'd like to know how you interact with Focus on Energy.
Well, it works really well for us. We actually started out, and I was given the task of getting a handle on what our energy costs were, because nobody was really tracking it for this very large company. At the time, we had about 1,000 employees. And I went to my utility, and they led me on to Focus, and I took what's called a Practical Energy Managers course through them, which taught me how to track my energy use and to look at what we produce and adjust those two things. So suddenly I could start talking about how much energy are we using per trailer that we build. And once I did that, then all the other managers got really interested in that and said, well, what can we do to try and reduce that energy per unit? And it became a whole new game for us. As we started working through the program, we found things like lighting is really the starting point for us. We went in and replaced almost all of our lights, which reduced them pretty significantly.
In the buildings?
In all the buildings.
Okay.
We took out all the light fixtures, put in all new high-efficiency lights. From there, as we worked through the process, we just kept finding new things to start looking at. For example, for us, it's air compressors, really big motors, hundreds of horsepower for each one. And Focus helped us to buy a new compressor so that we could run all 4 of our compressors as efficiently as possible. Things like that. It really worked out well for us.
And just in broad terms, John, how would you describe the impact of your work? I mean, has it been a significant savings and change in the way Stoughton operates?
I think my bosses believe so.
Yeah,
in fact,
yeah.
they're constantly asking me for new ways that we can reduce it. The next thing we want to talk about is how to go back and look at all of our equipment in a row and retro commission them. In other words, make them operate as efficiently as they possibly can, both the way they were originally designed to operate and whether or not there's opportunities to replace them with more efficient equipment in the future.
We're going to continue our conversation and Focus on Energy when we come back right after this. My guests this morning are all here talking about Focus on Energy, the Wisconsin Utilities statewide program aimed at energy efficiency, conservation of resources, helping consumers do a better job with their energy bill. I think that's a reasonable way to describe it. And for all of the talk about energy, Bill, this is a somewhat unique program, is that right?
It is. As we mentioned before, it's a utility program, and it's funded through a partnership of over 100 utilities throughout the state. That makes it essentially a statewide program, and it's one of the few statewide programs in the country, and there's a lot of benefits to that. First, as one of the few statewide programs in the country, you don't have to worry about the fragmented nature of what happens when you go from an electricity energy efficiency upgrade versus a natural gas energy efficiency upgrade. The electric company isn't interested in the natural gas savings, and the natural gas company isn't interested in the electric savings. When you combine the benefits of both of those measures, there's a lot more that you can do. For example, in a home, if you do insulation work, you're going to save on the air conditioning, which is typically electric, and also on the natural gas, which in many cases is or on the heating, which is natural gas, so that you get the combined benefits. The other thing that is truly beneficial of having a statewide program, many of these programs and the offerings that are delivered in Focus on Energy rely on local businesses to deliver them. We call them trade allies. Mm-hmm. It's your HVAC contractor, the electrician, the folks that are coming into your home and doing the work. And having them understand the program and not need to understand changes in the program if they just crossed the line from one utility to the next makes it easier for them to deliver the services that they offer at a discounted price by using the incentives that are available and not knowing, oh, it's a 20% incentive here and I just crossed this county line and now I'm in a different utility service territory and there is no incentive. So it makes it really much easier for businesses to deliver as part of their services and much easier for utility customers to understand and to utilize.
Keith, now you've been watching this for a long time. I mean, from an environmental perspective, in addition to a policy perspective, does this work?
Yeah, energy efficiency is such a critical part of how we meet our energy demand. There's really a lot of really major benefits especially for a state like Wisconsin. Obviously, we're interested in the environmental benefits, and the more energy you save, the less fossil fuels you burn, the fewer emissions of soot, smog, climate change emissions, all those things. So we appreciate that. But we've already talked about the fact that businesses and homeowners see lower energy bills, and they see those almost immediately. It's about the only way you can significantly reduce your energy bill. So that's huge. All customers, everybody sees lower electric rates over the long run, and that's because the more of our energy demand we meet with energy efficiency, the fewer power plants and transmission lines we have to build. And when our energy rates go up, and they have been going up in Wisconsin, it's because of those two things. It's because we have to build infrastructure, and energy efficiency avoids that infrastructure. This program, over its history, has already avoided roughly 2 medium to larger size power plants, and our electric rates would be much higher for everybody were it not for the Focus on Energy program. Number 3, it creates jobs, a lot of jobs. Of all the ways you can meet energy demand, really energy efficiency is the most labor intensive as opposed to building a new transmission line or running a power plant. So it creates a lot of jobs. And the last really major economic impact and benefit for Wisconsin is that it keeps dollars in our state, in our economy. We have no fossil fuels in the ground. So the less coal we burn, the less natural gas we burn, the more dollars we're going to keep in the state. And this program absolutely does that.
As soon as we went to the commercial break, John, you said, I bought a new furnace.
I did.
Tell me, because that's such a practical application here.
Well, we had our furnace checked out in the fall to make sure it wouldn't die in February at the cold snap, right? And they told us we needed a new one, so we went through our local heating company, and they right away brought up Focus on Energy. I didn't really have to do anything about it. The program is all in place for me.
Well, now, what does that mean? Somebody buys a new furnace and they bring up Focus on Energy.
Focus on Energy, Bill mentioned it. We work through over 1,500 businesses, a lot of them small businesses throughout the state. They're called trade allies. They're our partners along with the utilities. And we work with them in advance. If they're installing and selling furnaces, we help them to make sure they offer energy efficient furnaces, and if they're offering energy efficient services, Focus on Energy covers part of the cost. We reduce the cost to make it as easy as possible for people to make a smart energy choice. Just like if you go into a local retail operation and you have a choice of light bulbs, some of the light bulbs cost a little bit less. They cost a little bit less because Focus on Energy provides a subsidy to those. And it's way more efficient to work with the retailer or to work with the heating contractor than to go house by house, light bulb by light bulb.
So there's a heating contractor who will offer a furnace at a lesser cost, perhaps than his competitor or her competitor, because they participate in the Focus program.
Right.
Well, they understand and then they help their customers apply to receive an incentive.
Okay.
So the incentive check is issued directly to the homeowner, to the customer, the person who's purchasing it. And what the trade ally then serves for us is an ambassador of the program. They understand that, customer, if you go with this energy efficient model, it's likely going to impact your energy bills because it's a more efficient unit. And on top of it, there is a program through Focus where you will receive a rebate for making that energy efficient choice, to bring down maybe that first cost of the more efficient unit is higher, and the idea of the rebate is to bring that first cost down to make it more accessible so that customers, as was mentioned at the beginning, make smart choices about their energy use.
And you want to make it as simple as possible. You want to make it so that it happens year-round or when people are making decisions. So we want to subsidize light bulbs all year. We want to focus on heating and ventilation when people are making decisions about their air conditioner or their heater. And those partners, those 1,500 businesses around the state of Wisconsin, like Bill said, they're great ambassadors for the program. And as importantly, as Keith pointed out, it helps to create and support jobs and employment in the state. Energy efficiency is a win-win for everybody. It's a win for the utility, it's a win for the economy and the contractors, and it's a win for the end-use customers.
All right, I don't want to oversimplify this because I know it's not simple, but this just makes too much sense.
That's the whole idea. And what we mentioned before is the program's been overhauled recently. We wanted to make it as simple as possible for people to participate at home or at work. We wanted to make sure that there were wide offerings for participation. Bill mentioned light bulbs year-round. The program, for a long time, has incented energy-efficient lighting at the local hardware store. But it used to only provide those incentives, those discounts, in the fall. We understand that people purchase lighting year-round. When the light bulb goes out, you're going to the hardware store to get a new one. So we expanded that program to be year-round. We've always had a whole house energy efficiency program, but it required an energy audit and then a significant amount of upgrade work. It's a great program, provides deep energy savings, but if a customer is just replacing out their furnace, we wanted to capture that customer and say, listen, you're making a decision about a piece of equipment that you're going to have in your home for the next 15 or 20 years. It makes sense right now to buy that more efficient model, and we're going to help you do it.
Okay. We're going to talk about the future of Focus on Energy when we come back right after this. We are talking about energy as we kick off the new year, recognizing that you're probably thinking about the energy you use in your home, but also realizing what an important policy issue this is. And we don't have a lot of time to spend on this, Keith. But just when people listen to the debate that's going to come up about everything from cap and trade to requirements for emissions and gas mileage and all that kind of stuff, how do they see Focus on Energy's relationship to those issues?
Yeah, well, energy efficiency really should be sort of the easiest of these issues because, as we've been hearing here, there are so many upsides to it. There's so many different people win. Really, everybody, as Bill said, is a winner when you invest in energy efficiency. We hope there will be more discussion about growing the Focus on Energy program, about investing more in it. The program did grow kind of steadily over the last decade. There was a big increase in funding at the tail end of 2010, and then that was removed in the 2011 legislative session. It unfortunately became a little bit of a partisan football, like so many issues are.
Yep.
But this, if anything, should not be a partisan issue. It's energy efficiency. A really important point is, this program has, over its lifetime, delivered benefits roughly at a ratio of 2.5 to 1. In other words, for every dollar that's been paid into the program, homeowners and businesses have saved $2.50 on their energy bills. Under the program this past year, as you'll hear more about, it actually has gone a little bit above that, and there's no reason why it won't that benefit won't keep increasing. And so, we hope that folks will talk to, their representatives and ask for more opportunities to lower their energy bills through this program.
Bill Haas, somebody is saying, I want to learn more. I want to know what Focus on Energy can do for me. What's the entry point?
The entry point first is, and I think it's been shown, is first the website is a great resource. Also, the Focus on Energy 800 number. There's a customer service center there that can handle calls, can handle email inquiries, and help a customer determine what the best program might be for them and how to participate. Also, there's a lot of new programs that are out there. We've mentioned before this retooling of Focus on Energy. And maybe a customer, maybe a business has looked into Focus a couple years ago. They might not know the new programs that are out there. We have new programs for small businesses. We're running pilot initiatives for breweries. We've got retro commissioning programs, new construction programs that are rolling out. So a lot of new opportunities for both residents and businesses to participate, and I would highly encourage them to take a look and see if there is a good opportunity for them, whether the website or just call the customer service center. We're happy to help.
And Bill Abel, you said, I mean, the website is an example.
Yeah, we're going to roll out a brand new website in a couple of months. It's going to be simpler, easier to navigate, have a bunch of new features like online applications. It's interesting, you know, Keith mentioned the return on investment. Last year, Focus had the highest return on investment in its history. This past year that just closed, we had the highest level of energy savings in the program's history. The two are connected. The simpler we make the program, the broader we make the offerings, the more likely it is that people will use it. If people use it, we deliver a higher and higher rate of return. So that's why we're doing things like the piloting a statewide brewery program, because that's an important part of the state's economy.
Yeah,
and it has
industry.
big energy reduction efforts. That's why we're going to be working with water and wastewater plants to reduce energy bills, because they have huge amounts of energy savings. Same thing with multifamily, large buildings. There's tremendous opportunities to cut your energy use and benefit from Focus on Energy, and our job is to make it as simple as possible for you to do that. And hopefully, particularly with things like the website, that's exactly what's going to happen this year. We can get more energy savings, increase the return on investment for Wisconsin homes and businesses, and really do something good for the environment and the economy along the way.
And we need to raise the profile of Focus on Energy, don't we? I mean, just in terms of a statewide awareness effort, more people need to be aware of it.
So join us on Facebook.
Yeah,
Follow us on Twitter.
We had a little Facebook conversation here. I think, Bill, you mentioned a phone number, and I don't know that we have that. If you want to give the phone number.
Do you have it? I don't have it.
Okay. I'm sure it's on the website.
It's on the website. It's an 800 number,
Okay.
and also many of your utilities, if you're, they can transfer you over to the Focus call center as well.
Okay. The Twitter account is on the screen right now, and I encourage you to go to the website and contact the folks at the website. Thank you all very much for joining me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
And we're going to come back and wrap up For the Record right after this. My thanks to Bill and Keith and John for being here today. For more information on Focus on Energy, go to focusonenergy.com or call 800-762-7077. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you next Sunday.